So I was chilling the other day when I remembered that EU5 just got an update a month or so ago. So I went to the patch notes to read them and, oh, what's this? Added 7 new achievements. Cool. I wonder what they could be. Okay, this is all the old stuff. Wait a minute. Saladins Legacy. My most recent video from 5 years ago was me doing this achievement. I have to do it again in EU5. And so, I loaded up EU5, started a new game, selected the Ayyubids, and schemed up a plan. First of all, we were going to rush for an alliance with the Mamluks, then we will use them to help fight all of our wars and consolidate our power in this region. Once we grow enough and we're able to fight the Mamluks, we will get some allies, probably the Ottomans, and they will help us fight the Mamluks until we can get all their land. So let's get started. First off, we demolish the 2 forts in our provinces. This will help with our non-existent economy. We will begin improving relations with the Mamluks, and we will pin the Sultan's daughter. You'll see why we did this in a bit. So we pick our starting techs, automate our taxes, trade, replacing generals and admirals, and we hold off on doing government reforms until the Renaissance hits. We set our cabinet to strengthen government and diplomatic endeavors, but this will change pretty soon. Our first plan was to day 1 no CB the Ayyubids. This is because we have a higher levy count and the fort over here has nobody in it, so this should be a pretty easy war. Even though it puts us above our culture capacity, we also accepted Syria culture for the extra levies. And on May 1st, 1337, we declared our first war. The war is super easy. We just rush to the province with the fort, defeat the enemy army, and then occupy the rest of their nation. Once that is done, we took all of their money and we fully annexed them. And just like that, we just sextupled our size. We then needed to minimize how much money we lost, so we demolished the marketplaces. These will cost more than they will make us. And we, stopped feeding our population, but I'm pretty sure they'll be fine. We then started integrating the provinces, and with this expansion, we also gained the burgher estate, which we gave them the building rights and control over coinage privileges. This will keep them happy, and it will also help us mint more money. Now we wait until we're able to ally the Mamluks. While waiting, we tried to manage our economy as much as we can. We weren't able to build anything, so we just had to wait and hope for no bad events. If we start taking loans, we could spiral into bankruptcy really fast. And we finally get our first parliament. The parliament is going to be an extremely important tool for the success of our run. Didn't get it. God damn it. There's a parliament debate here that helps with the integration, and that's kind of what we want. So, for now, I guess let's just use this to change our laws. And change our laws we did. There are a lot of laws that we want to change, but we start off by changing our de jure laws. Buy blood will help us increase our integration speed, as I didn't really want to have a lot of vassals at the start, so we were going to just directly control our land for now. We then gave the burghers the building roads rights to increase our centralization. While doing that, the Sultan's daughter finally became of age, and so we did a royal marriage with the never mind. So we professed our Okay, so we just increased our diplomatic spending again, and okay, let's just try this again. Okay, there we go. After allying the Mamluks, we reached the age of the Renaissance, and so we're finally able to do our government reforms. We pick royal decree as it's just a better autocracy reform, and we pick local army organization for the increase in levy size. And we chose the administration focus, primarily for the proximity speed. We do our techs, and then we begin a spy network on the Ayyubids. While waiting for our spy network to complete, we got our second parliament, and this time, we got the integration debate. This will greatly speed up our integration progress. And we also get a nice event that will help us not go in debt just yet. And there we go, the debate passes and we also get a core. Now we're much closer to integrating this province. We finally get 20 spy network and we begin creating a casus belli. The Ilkhanate gives us some really good CBs that are really quick to create, so this will help us expand pretty quickly. While waiting for that to finish, I look over and see that the Ayyubids are in a civil war. And the rebels just won and cancelled our CB progress. So we just have to start over and build a new spy network on the new Ayyubids and try again. While waiting for that spy network, the Black Plague starts. I completely forgot about that. But also there's not much that we could do, so we just have to tank it when it gets to us. We gained some more cores while integrating, and our economy is now doing a little bit better. And the Black Plague finally reaches us in 1347. So we present scapegoats and move the core into hiding and just really hope nobody dies. We barely have an economy anyways, so this won't really affect us that much. We finally finish integrating some provinces and we start integrating other ones. Our cabinet is going to be integrating for pretty much all of this video. I noticed that the Black Plague finally passed over our country and we only lost 66,000 pops. Not too bad. Okay, let's try this again. Shed the shackle CB and we wait a couple months. While waiting for the CB, we get another parliament. We don't get the integration debate, so we change one of our laws. We change to favor the ruler for the extra crown power. Okay, we finally have our CB, so we call in the Mamluks and declare the war. Our goal in this war was to basically not get involved and just hide our army, and let the Mamluks do all the heavy lifting. Okay, I got a little bit impatient and started trying to pick off some of their smaller armies. Once the majority of their army has been defeated, the rest of the war is basically the Mamluks and my troops sieging the bajillion forts on our border. There are so many forts in this region. We piece out their unloyal subjects for war-ups and humiliation to help with our economy. And after 2 years, we piece them out for some of the surrounding provinces. We dismantle the forts, and we're finally making some money. Granted, it is because of war reps, but anything helps at this point of the game. We also get a notification that the Jailerids have fallen due to our ass whooping. So we will start building a spy network on the Saladins, who are the ones who basically replaced them. We started integrating some of our newly acquired provinces, as our control is starting to expand slowly. And we get a notification that the Black Death has ended, and honestly, that didn't really have an effect on us, since we're so small. We get another parliament, which we again use to change one of our laws. This one might seem odd, but we change our royal court customs to have the royal harem. We chose to pick the powerful harem as it increases crown power but also allows for women to be in cabinet. I then noticed that the Saladins were having a rebellion. This is great, as it will weaken them before I declare war on them. There were some leftover marketplaces in the cities we conquered, and thus we finally started trading, which helped boost our economy slightly. So we cleared our debts, no more inflation. Cleared our debt. We are making money, although we are heavily dependent on war reparations that we have here. But hopefully we'll be able to get those back up soon after we get this spy network going on. I then also noticed that the Saladins were at war with Georgia, supporting the independence of one of their vassals. This is not very ideal because this could mean that Georgia could take some of the land I want. We get the 20 spy network we need and start creating a CB. We then unlock Peasant Levy, which will greatly strengthen our army, and we pick out some more techs. One of the main issues that I'm seeing right now is that if we go into the markets, you can see that there are a lot of markets around here, but there's none right here where we are. We're on the outskirts of every single one of these markets. So I think definitely one of our next steps has to be creating a market or something, a market center around here that will allow us to maybe have a little bit better market access around here. While waiting for the truce to expire, I zoomed out and looked around Arabia. We noticed that Yemen rivaled Egypt, so they might be a good ally for us to have in the future. In November of 1359, we get another parliament, and this time we get the integration debate, and we do some agendas to guarantee it passes. In December, our truce expires and we declare war on the Saladins. We don't call in the Mamluks as they wouldn't join and, well, they barely have any troops, so we're gonna win easily. While sieging down their capital, we get a grave notification. Oh, shit. If the Timurids get far enough to reach us, it could very well end our run. In April, we finish the parliament decision and we finish integrating one of the provinces and we start integrating another one. This is gonna become a pattern. We also plan our next expansion route into Baghdad as we start a network on them. In April of 1361, Georgia pieces out the Saladins, and we continue sieging all of their forts. We piece the Saladins out for these provinces, increasing our population to 423,000. We destroy all of the forts as they're really expensive, and we finally reach the stage where we're able to make money with no diplomatic spending. I then noticed that Baghdad is at war with a neighboring nation. This will be helpful because 1, they will be weaker, and 2, we will be able to get more land in one go if they win. We also get another parliament debate. We don't get the integration debate, so we change our administration system to Central Council for the centralization bonus. We get a royal marriage proposal from the Ottomans, and we accept it as we want to ally them in the future. As we finally get the CB on Baghdad, I realize that the Mamluks won't join us. And so we step back and restart the spy network to sabotage their reputation. We also start building another spy network on the Saladins. In February of 1367, we're able to sabotage the reputation of Baghdad, which allows us to call in the Mamluks to our war. And so, next month, we declare war on them. While the war is happening, we look east and see that the Timurids are inching ever so closer to us. Baghdad's army is distracted with the Mamluks' land, and this allows us to sneak by their land and occupy them. We defeat their army and begin sieging down Baghdad. We also send half of our army south to occupy their ally. In April of 1368, we piece their ally and take some of their northern provinces. These will be connected soon. And then we full annex Baghdad, giving us all their vassals. This expansion lets us upgrade to the duchy rank, and now we have a lot of Iraqi people in our nation, so we begin tolerating them. After looking at the future expansion plans of the Timurids, I see that our newly acquired vassal is actually one of their targets. This makes me really nervous as this could be run ending. In October of 69, we get another parliament decision, and we get the integration debate, which will greatly help with integrating the province of Baghdad. In March of 1370, we get a rebellion. Remember the Jailerids? Well, they wanted their revenge from 30 years ago. This war is won very easily, as we also finish the parliament debate. And we also start a CB on the Saladins again. We gave some land to our vassal, and then we declared war on the Saladins. And we call in the Mamluks just in case, as the Saladins aren't fighting Georgia and a rebellion this time. Much like before, this war is mainly the Mamluks handling their armies, and then we just sit on the forts for the rest of the war. And in June of 1374, we peace out the Saladins for these lands and some maps of India. We then also released the nation of Zarzari to help us with integration. And then I finally realized that Temur was dead, as I was checking for their army size and I noticed that it was lower than before. But unfortunately, because the new Temur still has high stats, the situation's not over. And now that we're finally making some money, I start slowly investing in more buildings. We then get a rebellion that calls in our rival in the south. So we call in the Mamluks to help us out, and the war is pretty easy. So we use this opportunity to take more land from them. After the war, we release another vassal, and we're now at 730,000 pops, and we're getting really close to 1 million. In November of 1376, we get a notification about the stagnation of the Timurid horde. This is amazing news, and it means that we barely survived the Timurids. They were right on our border. This still does leave them in the region, but they are a lot weaker than before. And to be honest, during this whole time, I completely forgot institutions. I was too worried about other things. And then I noticed that we almost have no institution presence in our country. But Baghdad is carrying us, and it's spreading some institutions for us. This tells me that we really need to create our own market near our capital, especially now that we're making a little bit more money. In May of 1378, the nobles in our country rebel and we enter a civil war. They have almost no troops, and it allows us to quickly defeat them. And in May of 1381, I realized that building a market center is actually a lot cheaper than I thought before. Once we saved up enough money, we create our own center right here. And this almost immediately triples our income. And now we are making 6 ducats a month. This will allow us to start building up our economy a lot faster than before. In November of 1384, we get another parliament, and we get the integration one, which is great. With our newfound wealth, we begin expanding some iron mines. And then we begin annexing one of our vassals. I then noticed that the kingdom in the south is being taken over by the Ayyubids, so later on we will attack them. And then I was curious and saw that the Timurids have been in a civil war with the Ayyubids for almost 10 years now. I then really wanted to create a local governor soon in Baghdad, as it will act as a proximity source in the south and it will help our control and our tax base. We then get a nice event that gives us more money, and then I start a spy network on the Ayyubids. And in 1389, I embrace professional armies and choose my techs. And in June of 1390, we finally finish integrating the province of Baghdad. And soon after, we finish annexing our vassal, which gives us a lot of Kurdish pops. As we get the 20 spy network needed for a CB, I see that the Hazaraspids actually declared war on the Ayyubids. And now the Hazaraspids just won, so now we have to restart the spy network process again. We then get more integration debates and we start saving up for a local governor. In September of 1395, we build it in Baghdad. We then get the 20 spy network and we start building the CB on the Hazarspids. And soon after, we declare war on them. We don't call in the Mamluks this time because I figured we could just handle them. We also finished building the local governor when we declared the war. The war is quite easy as all of their allies are spread apart and we easily beat their armies. That then allows us to occupy the rest of them. And in February of 1398, we pieced them out for these provinces, finally giving us access to the sea. Although we really won't do anything with it as we're not really planning any naval stuff. We then also accepted the Iraqi culture. Because of the governor, we're now able to have 73 maximum control in Baghdad, which is great, but I do realize that it is extremely expensive to upkeep. But this is what our capital proximity map looks like, and our tax base is quickly rising because of it. At the turn of the century, we embrace banking, and soon after, we get another Mongolian rebellion. This time, the Ayyubids are back. Again, this war is quite easy, but something really strange happened. I'm not sure when or how, but the local governor in Baghdad just disappeared. During the war, our ducats went up to 6 again. So I checked the economy tab and noticed that I wasn't paying for the local governor. After checking, I saw that it was gone. So that set us back almost 180 ducats, but at least we're making decent money again. Anyways, we curbed their rebellion before the new year. We get another parliament, which we use to change our ICTA to land acquisition, which increases our centralization. Now because the local governor is gone, all of the lands south have no proximity to our capital. So we're just gonna have to save up and build another one. We then started looking west, and we start building a spy network on the Ayyubids. We're now at the point where we're making a lot more money every month. Almost 10 ducats. This is when we're able to dramatically expand our economy and build up our nation. We get the 20 spy network, and we start building our CB on the Ayyubids. And in April of 1407, we declare war on them, and we call in the Mamluks. They immediately send us a white peace offer, but we quickly throw that in the trash. Again, we use the Mamluks to do all the work for us, and we just focus on sieging or picking off a few of their smaller armies. After their armies are defeated, now it's just a matter of sieging down their forts. And in May of 1408, we take war reps, all of their money, and these provinces. We then create a vassal to take care of these lands, as they are a different culture and I didn't really want to bother with the integration. By this point, our economy is booming. We're making 15 ducats a month, and so we rebuild the local governor in Baghdad. Do y'all remember the Timurid and Ayyubid war I told you about? Well, they're still fighting this same war. 30 years later. Anyways, as the local governor is building, we get another integration debate. Now, you might be wondering why Mosul is at 90% and I didn't pick it to start integrating. That is because of the Mongolian population there. Because of their cultural tradition, it majorly slows down the integration and it starts taking forever. So we're going to integrate other provinces and maybe later we'll cultural convert them. With the local governor back in Baghdad, we're not making as much money, but our control and tax base are about to increase exponentially. And in October of 1411, we finally reach 1 million population. We then get a small rebellion in the south, but it's quickly defeated. We start looking east towards these small nations as they're primarily Kurdish culture, and the more Kurdish pops we have, the stronger that we could be. We continue building our economy and we start building a spy network on the Saladins to finish them off finally. We then get the bureaucracy tech and we go for centralized bureaucracy for the increase in centralization. Because of this and all of our other laws, we're now moving well towards centralization. We continue to build up our RGOs and buildings, and by 1417 we're really ramping up our economy. By 1418 we reach a tax base of over 100. Look at that graph. We then begin annexing our other vassal, and then we start building a CB against the Saladins. A couple months later, we declare war on them. This war is extremely quick as we stack wipe their army and we sit on their fort. And in April of 1420, we finally kill off the Saladins, full annexing them. We make a vassal in the region to help with integration. In November of 1420, we finally finish annexing our vassal and it gives us 100,000 more population. And because they are Kurdish pops, we gain those locations as cores immediately. We then start building a spy network on the small kingdom as we want to consolidate as much power as we can. And in October of 1422, we finally allied the Ottomans. We then get another cabinet member and we start assimilating some of the Mongolian pops to help with integration. In 1424, we declare war on Sabuli, and during the war we start a spy network on the Chobanids to the east. And we finish annexing our vassal. We then separate peace out our old rival as a vassal. We then get a parliament and we use it to give us a CB on the Garmian horde. Once we finish sieging their fort, we full annex Sabuli and Kartawi, and immediately after we declare war on the Garmian horde. As their ally, the Timurids, won't join them. We quickly beat them and full annex them as well. We then begin integrating the new lands as they're primarily Kurdish culture and they will integrate pretty fast. Now, we're trying to set our sights on becoming a kingdom, and by this point we just need 5 more prestige. And so we tried to look for some royal marriages, but for some reason there were none popping up. Then our vassal Bitlis has a rebellion, and oh, look at that, the Saladins are back for another war. They just can't get enough. We don't even bother with raising all of our levies and quickly put down the rebellion. In 1428, we finally upgrade our capital to a town, after almost 100 years of playing. And then we try to integrate Mosul again, but the Mongolian population is too high, and it would literally take 200 more years for it to integrate. So we just integrate the Kurdish land we just conquered. In September of 1428, we get called into a war by the Ottomans against Byzantium. There isn't much that we can do as Byzantium is literally only Constantinople by this point, but we try and help out where we can. We then start a CB on the Chobanids. And then later I realized that I wasn't able to get prestige by royal marrying because I didn't have diplomats to royal marry anybody. So once we get our diplomats, we try and find nations that will give us the highest prestige. We marry off our brother for 5 prestige. And once our younger brother becomes of age, we also marry him off for 4 prestige. And then finally, we marry one of the women in the Mamluks, and that puts us just above 50. We don't have enough money, so we just take the loans out. We're making enough money that this won't matter. And on July 6, 1429, we promote to a kingdom, making us the Sultanate of the Ayyubids. After that, our first action as a sultan is to declare war on the Chobanids. We then disband our levies that were fighting in Byzantium, declare war, and then we raise them right back up. We defeat their army almost immediately and we start sieging down the provinces. We take a small part of our army to deal with the Khazarispids in the south. We defeat their army near Barza and we march down to siege them down. We siege down Tabriz and start sieging their forts. One of the Khazarispids' armies moved back up and attacked my smaller force that was sieging a fort. So I split one of my armies to reinforce the battle. They unfortunately didn't make it in time, but we were still able to defeat them. By this time, the enemy armies are too insignificant, so we just siege down their forts. Once we finish sieging the Chobanid forts, we start occupying the rest of them. Once we finish sieging the Khazarispids' last fort, we take all their money and we return the sliver of land to our vassal. And we take some maps in India. We peace out the Chobanids for these provinces, which does include Tabriz, and then we release some nations to break them a little bit more. After the war with the Chobanids, we start building a spy network on Georgia, and we start annexing our other vassal. We then spent the next couple of years just building up our nation, expanding RGOs and building more buildings. I then wanted to start building my professional army, but saw that regulars cost 300 ducats each. I thought it was a bug, so I looked it up. Oh, okay, I guess it's just a part of the new patch. Weird. I then looked east and saw that the Timurids weren't doing too hot. They have a bunch of vassals and are on the decline. We then finished annexing Kalhor and I built up some more roads. We currently can only build one local governor, and the only way for us to get another one is to pass this tech within the Pike and Shaw tech tree. So we continue building roads, and in March of 1436 we start building a spy network on the Eretnas again. And then we start building some forts to our border with the Mamluks. We're now at the point where we are making almost 30 ducats a month. And then we start building a CB in Georgia. And in 1437, we finally reach the Age of Discovery. Now that we're at the Age of Discovery, and 100 years into the game, this is where we're going to stop. We've come a long way, from being a 2-province minor to now having 126 provinces. Our next steps are going to be invading Georgia and Anatolia, and getting some more allies. We have to also build up our military to be able to match the 84,000 troops that the Mamluks have. And with that, thank y'all so very much for joining me, and I'll see y'all next time.